going to invite Stefan Seicarescu, who is the founder and CEO of Quantic Lab. The title of this keynote is Dodging the Dev Pitfalls, QA and PM's Guide to the Top 10 Gaming Don'ts. A little bit of background. Stefan's passion for games led him to experiment and develop projects in his youth, shaping his future in the early 2000s. He worked as a lead tester and QA manager for Joe Wood, overseeing projects like the Gothic and Spellforce series. In 2016, he founded Quantic Labs in Romania, a QA and localization company. Starting with 12 people, it grew to become a leading European partner, contributing to games like The Witcher 3 and Borderlands. His dedication to values like passion and integrity helped establish Quantic Labs as a major player in the video game industry. I leave it to you, Stefan Seicarescu. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
It was 2006.
2016?
It was 2006.
What did I say?
16. So, okay. So, hello everyone. I know it's the last speech, and everybody's a bit tired. Don't worry, it's a bit technical, a bit too many details, but if you want to get the full information, you can receive it later from me as well, so you don't need to take notes. So, can we have? Okay. So, thank you. This number, we don't see the number. Can we get? Okay. Okay, thank you. Why does it switch? Okay. So, 40,397. What's this magic number? I didn't also know, I had to look up. It's actually the number of titles released last year on Steam. And it does not want. Really? Okay. We found a bug. Unbelievable. This was my job. So, unfortunately, most of these games actually never receive any accomplished. So they never been really well sold. They were not, maybe not even fun to play. This is the reality. So it was quite hard for the people that developed it, because I imagine there were people really dedicated, like all of you here, and they put a lot of effort. They believed in their project, and they're hoping to make somebody happy with their game. So they wanted to project their happiness in the project to others. But unfortunately, most of them failed. And why? There's a huge number of reasons. So I started to put together a list, but I stopped around 45 points, which some of them are technical, but I had time just for 30 minutes, so I put a list of 10. And in my 25 years of career, actually, I saw a lot of projects rise and fall. My name is Stefan. I'm the founder and CEO at Quantic Lab. He's the right information 2006, so 18 years, more than 18 years in the business. And indeed, we started in all the great stories in the garage, where before my first day as working with my team, I had to set up the entire network and build up the computers. And before all my future colleagues were coming in the company. So, I saw many projects rise and fell, unfortunately, hundreds. And I always had a soft spot for indie developers because they put a lot of energy and they are willing to take a lot of risks, and I understand them. And they want to create something very unique, very special, and they believe in this. And it's a great attitude. But a lot can go bad, and there are a lot of do's and don'ts, but there is no full list and 100% sure recipe how to manage, how to release a successful indie game. But I will try to help you out. I will try to give you something that it didn't work for in the past for people, and how you could mitigate these pitfalls. I will not approach very technical details. I'm not a very good programmer, I'm not a very good artist, but most of the issues actually happen because other reasons. Most of them, we categorize usually failed releases in, based on 4 aspects. If one of these financial, planning, expertise, and communication fail, there is a high probability the project that we are working in will not make it. It doesn't need to be everything perfect, but these 4 aspects of a title, of a project, if they check all the marks, the probability is that we have a successful release are great. So let's get to the point, and let's make a game. So Rick and Snorky, they are good friends. They have a great idea, and they don't have much knowledge how to run a business or how to make a games. But actually, there are a lot of TikTok movies, tutorials. So what can get wrong? Let's make a game. What they believe, the game is unique, and their passion is very high. So they are ready for the pitch. They have a nice graphics. They have a great story. They want to tell a great story, and they put a great presentation, of course, made by an AI tool, because they don't know how to use PowerPoint. So, and wonderful, let's go. They did it. The idea apparently is great, it's good. They found an investor, is willing to put some money in the project, and actually the reality hits them. Actually, they have to work and make a game, and run a business. So it starts with the first pitfall, budget estimations. Oh my God, nobody thinks about it. First of all, you think how to make a game, you don't think how to make a budget. And the big question, I remember yesterday was also somebody was asked, what is the right budget for the game? And actually nobody knows, but it's very important. And I was involved in many budget estimation and evaluations for many projects. Unfortunately, I always saw a tendency of accepting to go with a lower budget. Why? There are different reasons. Simply, lack of experience. If it's your first game, you are not aware of what you actually will need to finish the title and how complex it will become. Then there is a fear of rejection. This is an aspect you have to talk to somebody to pitch the idea, and you are afraid that you receive a no. Most of people are really afraid that they get a no. And this fear of rejection makes you to go from beginning with unrealistic budget expectations. This is also the other side. And I know in the audience that there are still some investors here. And they may agree. There is a pressure for investors. The developer is coming, and the investor says, no, I will not give you this money. You have to do the same game with half the money. And usually, as an indie developer without experience, okay, this is the only options, I will go with this. The problem is this situation, wrong estimation of the budget. The problems will not appear in the first months, but when you reach the later stage of development, you run out of money, and actually, when it really comes to polishing the tile, to really making it fun, what the people at the end will see and will actually interact, it will not be finished. And then it's really a dramatic situation sometimes. How to mitigate? Set realistic milestones. Discuss with when you put a budget. When, what, and how is paid. Work in agreement. I recommend the developers to work in agreements, paragraphs. They allow them to readjust the budget at a later stage, specific where unexpected situation appear. Just for example, you find out that if you release at the same time on different regions, it will double the revenues, but you haven't planned for this. So you should not be stuck to the initial budget. Then, classic one for project management, work out 3 budget proposals. Pessimistic, a balanced, and optimistic. I know everybody would like to have the optimistic. And usually this is not possible, but put on a paper 3 different budgets. The trick is, also with a pessimistic budget, with the lowest budget, you should be able to finish a product. I don't say it is the best game, but you should not finish your money and you start with the alpha version, because it will be very, very difficult later. For example, later investor will ask you, what did you do with the money? You didn't play it right. Yes, Rick and Snorky, our friends, they have no money. They don't know they don't have enough, but they have the money. And apparently they need some help. Putting down a budget made them realize, we cannot do by ourselves, so you need some help to put the pieces of the puzzle together. You might need a programmer who knows to do a multiplayer. We might need one to artists. Man, the game needs also sounds and music, and we don't have. So we have to plan what actually resources will need it. And a lot of people don't do this. And why do they fail in planning? Usually lack of experience and not aware of the complexity. A common problem for first-time developer, and I don't know necessarily be the first time, but you really do a first-time developer. First time also can mean if you do a first-time development on another platform. You never did on consoles, and you try to do a console. Or you never did a multi-language project, or you plan just for 5 languages, and you end up, I need 20 languages. And for example, you don't know what it means if you, what kind of resources you will need if you want to release the game on the Arabic or the Chinese market. Another reason for the fail is the financial pressure. Of course, if the budget was not right, you didn't plan also the resources correct. And the third one, I like it, feeling overconfident. It's good to believe in yourself and the capacity to overcome all the challenges. You need this because it's a high-risk job. But it does not help if you are overconfident, you are deep in the project, and you realize you cannot run the business, you cannot learn how to write a program, and you do not know how to do animation. And you are way behind with the schedule, really. How to mitigate this process? Do a resource assessment. This is a bit technical, but just to say, the simpler it goes like this. You put a feature on the paper, features of the games should have, that you like to have. Then you put the needed expertise that you need. And then you start to calculate, based on this expertise, what is the capacity or the speed of delivery based on the volume of the person with this expertise in a certain time frame. And then you calculate. Okay, the calculation is not nice, but actually it helps quite a lot. Best case, plus 25%. Always add a safety margin. You heard the story, this is true. My 25 years of working in the industry, I never saw a game released perfect on day. I mean, they were released on day, but not perfect. And now we have internet. But imagine 25 years ago, you didn't have internet. You have to go to, I remember, to put the patches on the CDs that were selling in the later. If, for example, in Germany, if the GameStar, the magazines, the games magazines. But now, a lot of people say, it's not right, it doesn't matter. We will put with the day 1, day 0, the second page or whatever. So, but plan with the safety margin. If you think you will need 4 weeks, plan with 5 weeks. If you think you need 2 external artists to help out, discuss with 3 artists, because something really will happen, always. And don't assume, double check. It means do everything that you put down and you think you do right, do again a double check. Maybe ask someone to help you out. So, what Rick and Snorky do not really like, because they like only making games, they don't like to think about bad days ahead. Something bad might happen, but they don't like to think about this. You know, I understand most of indie developers in the age range between 20 and 30. And usually you have a tendency to take really risky decisions. You don't think about what could go wrong. And this is the nature of the human. This is the human nature. And making games is a risky business. But it's not a problem to embrace the risk and prepare for it. Actually, it helps to survive in the business long enough that you learn from all these mistakes, and at the end, somehow you manage to do a great job and a great project. And actually, being able, as an indie developer, to show risk assessment, the capacity to think about this, and you go to these possible investors, this is a sign of maturity. Motives for this pitfall. Simply, for example, lack of knowledge. Not everybody is aware of the idea of what it means, risk assessment. The concept of risk assessment, risk management is not taught maybe in some schools, but if you don't have this business background, you might not be aware about this aspect. Another aspect, people are feeling overconfident. They think we can do it. We don't need help. And the problem, the people are not aware of their limitations. With 22, 23, sky is the limit. You don't know where the limits are. Some people just have a reactive behavior. It means they just go with the flow. They try to handle the problems, the issues only after they appear. This is the way how they live also in the private life, and this also sometimes it reflects also in the day-to-day business. They deal with the problem only when the problem appears. And for this is not a healthy business approach. How to mitigate these situations? Build up some basic knowledge of risk assessment and risk management. My recommendation, there are a lot of books, a lot of tutorials, so don't go into these details. My tip, for example, on the other side, the investors, the people that are asked for money, help these people out. Just put in your catalog, question catalog, this question: do you have prepared a risk assessment, a risk management? I'm quite sure a lot of people say, what the heck is this? No, I don't have. So don't worry if they don't have it. Just putting the right question makes you think about this. It makes me actually aware of the situation. Don't be shy to ask for help. is quite simple. It sounds simple, it's simple. I hope that even my today's presentation can trigger something in your head. Maybe there are still some developers, young developers, indie developers. They are using this presentation to help them out and improve for the next pitch. Change to a proactive thinking. Proactive mindset is also, for example, to be prepared in advance for a situation that might appear. Build a risk matrix. This is a bit more technical. It's very simple. It's also a lot of background information. You can read about this. Just events that might happen. What is the likelihood, the probability that these events might happen? And what might be the severity of the risk? The probability, for example, you have only one developer working on the code, and this person get ill. This is very problematic. You don't have a backup. Based on this risk matrix, build an action plan. Action plan, it means, okay, you have a strategy and you have some action points to do if something bad happens. Action points might be build a backup or just being aware there will be a drawback in the project. One essential question our friends Rick and Snorky actually don't ask themselves when they started to make the game. For whom is this game made? Who will play? Of course, they like the idea. First of all, the game is because they like the idea is for them. But they don't, very often they don't ask the developers who actually will buy it and why. Because usually people think that their ideas, what they like, their preferences will be understood, will be liked by the other persons. It does not always happen. Another reason is you don't understand the differences of the market, of the target groups, lack of experience. Some target groups have preferred game mechanics, expectation, they have differences on how they play, what kind of hardware are using. There might be cultural differences. For example, people in Asia approach some game mechanics different versus, for example, people in Western Europe. Another common problem is if you try to make a game that works for everyone. If it's for everyone, it's for no one. You cannot. It sounds nice. It sounds okay. Everybody will buy my game. No, it will not happen. This is not the way it works. For example, if you want to make a hardcore Counter-Strike player like your game, which is World War III, I don't think they will like it. Even if you really, for example, put a lot of marketing, you try to promote, but you totally miss the market. How to mitigate? Choose the right group. Do a focus group test. Do a lot of interviews with people. Do market research. And I will say, I know the idea, friends and family can help out. I will say this is the first time, yes. So it gives you a bit of motivation, but a long time, this is family and friends are not the right way to test the market. They are not your market. They might generate bias. They have a biased view of the project. They create a false positive aspect. So, I will not recommend long-term friends and family. Yes, choosing external providers helps, just based on money. Our friends, they realize they need the resources, they need extra people, coding, animation, quality assurance. And the problem is, very often, these people, they help out our chosen based on the financial perspective. The reason can be simple. As a developer, you simply don't have the money. And you say, you run out of money, I still need this, I still need some help, so I'm just looking just at the money. Then you actually don't want to build a partnership. You use this person just one time for one day, you don't want to talk to it because you don't care. So you don't want to build a partnership. Some companies choose only the financial-driven procurement process because in the procurement process is very disconnected to the development, the internal development needs. And the procurement said, okay, I have my target, we have to save 10% of the cost. This is their target. This is not the target of the developer. Actually, my developer need 10% more expertise, not to lower the cost. And sometimes in companies, there is a disconnection between who chooses the external help and who actually needs these resources inside. Tips to mitigate this situation. So, cheap, fast, and good does not exist. If you get an offer, this is too good, something is fishy. Ask the person or the company who offers the best solution, the cheapest price, and already tomorrow ready. Why are they cheaper, for example? Because all the other competitors are on a different level. Try to build a fair partnership. Partnership makes actually a huge difference, especially when you are in crunch time. When you discuss with people that will help you in your project, point out what is important for you. What does it mean for your partnership? Maybe it's a flexibility. Maybe they are the right values. Maybe how you, if you can interact, maybe you can visit these people. They are not somewhere. We, for example, had a situation, we're working with as a company, with some people, and during pandemic, they were working from home, and they these people started to switch the camera off in our meetings. And my requirement, no, all the people that are working for us, if I want to talk to you, you have to switch the camera on. It's okay, I understand you are not coming to the office. And actually, this didn't happen before the pandemic, and this new thing, this camera, the people became camera shy. But this is just an example. If you want to build a partnership, you have to be very clear what are expectations, what are the values, and choose the partners that they have the same values like you. Talking about financial part, be transparent with the limits that you have. It's not a problem if you really have financial limitation or schedule limitation, but be transparent. If you say, this is the budget that I have, what can you get me for this budget? The best quality possible in this budget. This is the right way to ask for a partnership. No, I have this budget, I want to do 100%, but only this budget. People sometimes will say, yes, yes, because maybe they don't have other jobs, but the reality, they will be honest with you. They are just made to answer the way that you want to hear. So, be transparent on this aspect. Like I mentioned already, build on values and personal relationship on the transparency. This goes long. If this goes long, you will use this additional value in a partnership when it's really hard. And it has, for example, have a crunch time. And then you have to ask the people for extra help. They will help you then, not because the money, because they are partners. This is a huge difference. So, oh my God, I'm running out. Not accepting constructive feedback. Yes. Why? A lot of people are proud. They are overconfident. Why? Sometimes they are too young. I know from the gaming industry, and I work with a lot of people, they are shy. Some of them, they are missing communication skills. They do not like to talk. They are not open. Then, one problem that generates this pitfall is because you don't have a correct risk assessment, you don't have planned for constructive feedback, and you don't want to hear the feedback because it raises red flags that you haven't planned for, so you don't want to hear about this. How to mitigate? Build a communication charter. This sounds very interesting, but this can help very much. Even for a small team, put some rules on papers that everybody agrees. Who, what, how, and what will be communicated, and keep to this. Communication charter, for example, it would be, if you start to get rid of your protective attitude, and then you start to listen to, really listen to each other, to your partners, then you start to find the real solution for the problems. This is something, for example, we have in Quantic Lab implemented, and the people got the papers to learn about this, how the communication charter. Accepting mistakes. These are tough. So you have to go ahead and say, yes, we made a mistake. For the people running the business, head of business here or whatever, I recommend they should be the first one that go up front to the team and say, yes, I don't know all, I'm not an expert, I also can make mistakes. Because this helps out later with the people to open for the communication. Partnership. Partnership should allow an open discussion. It means, for example, if there are partnership between companies, every layer of the company should be able to communicate with each other. For example, developers, internal developers with external developers or external testers, producer with project manager, even CEO to CEO level. I totally recommend this. Receiving and giving feedback. Implement a one-on-one process. Also, these are enough, you can read about this. This is the concept of one-on-ones. Implement a monthly one-on-ones with a team lead, with their teams, then a certain, above the team lead, with their team leads, and so on. In our company, we have a KPI. Every single team lead has to fulfill 80% of the one-on-ones. This, at the beginning, is very awkward. Ooh, I have to talk to my boss. Did I do something wrong? And then you realize, it's not about actually finger pointing. It's about really talking to each other, finding out what the problems are, how are you feeling, and what would you recommend to improve this? So building our relationship on one-on-ones inside the team is great. Rick and Snorky are focused on development and forget to do a step back and actually looking and do a reality check. Hey man, they should say, from time to time, they should say, actually, what are we doing right now? Are we going to the right direction? Don't forget to do this. The 3 big no's why it happens. Because these reality checks are not planned, are not budgeted, and nobody has time because everybody is crunching numbers and graphics. You have to finish the game. And then you forgot actually, why are you doing this? Yes, no expertise how to do reality checks. It might be there's the intention to do a reality check exists, but you don't know how to ask the right questions. And this is, I also heard in today's presentation about it. You have to know to ask the right questions, so you get the right answers. People do not accept feedback. They are overconfident, they don't like to communicate, and they don't like a backslash. How to mitigate? Do surveys. Plan executed regular, so this kind of surveys, ask, and the people should be able to share their ideas. Surveys, for example, if you test technical from the game design perspective, don't do only functionality, do also what is the experience, what it is really fun, what we are implementing in the game. And as always, this is a usually situation, you put all the ideas on the paper when you create a design document, usually the end game looks a bit different because ideas on the papers, when they they meet the reality of the players, usually not always they fit together. And don't wait too long for this reality check. Plan them regularly. Another problem is about honesty. You are honest in communication. And communication between, it means between stakeholders. It means between team members, developers. It can mean between developer investors, among QA, external providers, and community. What would be a developer not be honest? Many people are afraid of criticism. They don't take very well this, because usually you work very hard for the product. You don't want to hear something negative. Other reason is you try to hide mistakes. Unfortunately, we had several situations in so many years where we were reporting issues and the developers were hiding the database. The reason was the level of reported issues reflected that the payments of the milestones. So they didn't get the money, and they started to hide this mistake, so they received the payments, and at the end, the project was not as expected, and then the shit hit the fan. So it happens. Problems in communication also happen because people are overworked and do mistakes, human mistakes. It happens very often. It happens we do also part of we help out with the communication, and we find out that what is communicated to the community not always is reflected to the reality of the game. You might know a situation where features were promoted of a game, and the reality, the game never had the features. Classic ones, for example, you promote to have a multiplayer, people buy the game, and there is no multiplayer. And then, okay, players say they don't want to hear, oh, okay, we had some issues. They say, you lied to us. This is very bad. How you mitigate? Check what you already communicated in previous time. Do a double check. Make a communication plan that everybody in the team is aware. I also recommend to do, if it's a public communication, a second person checks this communication and request honesty from all stakeholders. We are almost done. This is a bit technical, specific for indie developers. They don't have a technical background to implement different on different consoles. They are not aware, for example, what it means edge rating. A lot of people don't know what it means hardware compatibility in checks. It is missing the background. Developers don't know, for example, the first-party providers change the requirements, the technical requirements, how to, and if something was approved today, if you want to release next year, you might need to change things. So you don't know that development pipelines might change based on the changes in design, on the requirements, and you find out you don't have actually the knowledge, and you don't know how to implement these changes. How you mitigate? Always schedule the backup in mind, specific for compliance tests where we have to submit to first-party providers, plan with a pre-submission first, and I totally recommend second, and in difficult games, 3 submissions. But it means that you need to have enough time for release. As for common issues, the first-party platforms providers, they might be able to give you from time to time the most common issues on the platforms, but they are not all of them. I recommend to ask externals. They are providers for compliance. They have tons. we do, for example, we do submit every week. Sometimes we have daily submissions for thousands of games. And believe me, we have quite a catalog of common issues. Connect with people with expertise. Don't shy to ask around. And in this situation, for example, I would recommend that you name somebody in your team that will take care of this information, connects, and share again inside the company, because it's quite difficult to take care of everything with submission, age rating, and all that other stuff. Another tip for me would be to consider different release dates. Don't put too much pressure for you. Don't try to submit the game for all platforms at the same time. We saw many projects fail. They were very good on one platform. 2 were meh, and another 2 were really bad. What happens? It doesn't really help if you have 2 good submissions when 4 other submissions are bad, because the general ratings will be bad. The good ones will not save you. So, yeah, our friends, Rick and Snorri, are almost done. I mean, they are done with all the money, but the game is not so great. So they need some more. They need some more money. And with the help of Steam, there is this concept of early access. And what do the people do as a mistake? They do this early access just for the money. They don't understand what it means. Or they just think about, if you release, people will talk about us. So they're just very focused on the aspect. And the best thing, they are not prepared what actually comes back. All successful early access that we had, and really a lot of them, they were treated from the production side as full releases. It meant they were treated as you would release the game as a full game. So set clear expectation for the community. Of course, inform them very clear. Don't make them expect something more than it is. When you deliver, the quality of the release game should be at release level. If you do not do this, anyway, players don't care if you tell them it's an early access. Don't accept this bug-free. Most of the people will rate the early access as they would buy for a full game. So it should be the nearly top quality. Look at the golden hour. Polish a rather smaller part of the game to 100% and implement only the features that we are aware at the beginning, that we are aware they work and they are nice, they are fun to play. Don't try to push much more features into to get a sense of feedback. You will rather get bombarded with a lot of bad reviews. Implement in the game a tool that will help the community to give you easy feedback. Because most of the people, they don't have time and they don't know how actually to report issues. And a lot of people say, I don't like it, does not work, it crashes, it's crap, it's boring. This is kind of feedback, this is the 99% what we get. And if you have this tool that makes the people easy to interact with you, give you feedback, don't give this feedback as it is to the developers. They might be overwhelmed. Try to build a filter to really the good things together, and this feedback should help to improve the quality, not to demoralize the developers. Okay, and okay, so I had another graphics, but it's okay. Unfortunately, the game was not so successful, but like I said at the beginning, don't give up. The next one will be better, and learn from these mistakes. This is the most important part that I learned in 25 years. Who is interested in the presentation and more technical details, because there are a lot of, please feel free to contact me. After that, I started to write to get a booklet, a small booklet with all my experience in 25 years of releases. And I hope I can help some developers, some indie developers, to prepare from beginning, to bring the game at a higher level. And I hope it will help also the investors to choose the right ones. So thank you very much.